Hey, I'm Nate from lastingthedistance.com and welcome to the Lasting the Distance podcast. If you're in a long distance relationship, then you're in the right place. We have real conversations with couples that have closed the distance to find out why they were so successful and to give you the right advice to help your long distance relationship thrive. Let's get started. Hey gang, welcome to the first episode. We're glad you could join us. In this episode, we're talking with Ashlie and Silas. They've recently closed the distance and they're living in Missouri. Today we're going to hear how they perceived through a low point for Silas and what he called the relationship's first trial, why they believe patience, preparation and compromise are pivotal for a long distance relationship to thrive, and what life is like now they've closed the distance. Let's get stuck in. Ashlie and Silas, thank you for being a part of the first edition of the Lasting the Distance podcast. Welcome. I wanted to start with a little bit about your story and how you guys met.
We met online through Naruto Online, which is a video game. It's like a role-play game.
Very cool. How long ago was this?
Almost 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool. So you met on the game and one of you started a chat and the other one replied?
Yeah, we were in the same group, guild. What was it?
We were in the same little ninja clan, and I had started it in a way to kind of introduce new players to this game and answer questions. Very, very active community. A lot of work.
Because of you.
And Ash, she jumped in there, and we started talking, and it wasn't long before we were joking around like every day. Like, we were a part of each other's lives, like every evening. And I had been playing for a while, and I was getting tired of playing, but then I would sign on specifically to talk to her, to goof off.
And then eventually he gave me his number.
Yeah, from there, everything just kind of started falling into place.
Right, so it didn't take too long before you guys were pretty comfortable together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick.
So when did you realize that it was something more than just a friendship, and I guess you had feelings for each other?
When we were talking every night up until like 4 a.m.
It wasn't like super clear, there was a build there, a slow one. So at one point you're just kind of like, oh man, I'm like really looking forward to talking to this person tonight. Like every night it seems I'm really looking forward to this person signing on and talking to me or shooting me another text, And from there you're just kind of like, okay, so there's something happening there. I feel this,
Cool. So what was that transition like? Or how did it come up when you were like, okay, so like, what are we? Or when you became an item, I guess?
That was me, right? I was the first to jump right in. I was testing the waters. She was so nervous, so awkward.
It was complicated at first.
It really was. But yeah, no, I came out with it. And over time, it took a little while before you could admit to feelings.
Yeah.
But
they were clearly there though.
Yeah. Like anytime I would start kind of like, okay, maybe she's not interested or something of that nature, there'd be that little hint, that little spark. And I'd be like, okay, so she is. She's feeling it. I get it.
Saying it without saying it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So how long were you long distance before you struck up the conversation to have your first visit?
It was a little over a year.
Well, no, we were trying to meet up around October, but then his son had to have surgery.
Yeah.
And he was out of work, so it was almost a full year after we had met when we had met in person.
Yeah, we had met, and things were cruising along for me, like financially and in life, all right. And then there was a snafu, so to speak. My son had to have surgery, and I left my job. That was a rough period. So we were supposed to meet, October? Yeah. We were supposed to meet up in October. It ended up being March by the time everything was all set and planned. So by the time we first met each other, it had been slightly over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like when you first met each other? What was
She ran right into my arms. I was a fighter for a number of years, and she jacked my jaw. It felt like a solid jab to the face. But she hit me so hard. It bruised her shoulder.
Yeah, my collarbone was bruised for a couple days.
She was super excited. I was so nervous. The closer I got, I was like, oh, this is a big deal. I'm getting scared.
Sure.
And we finally met up in Effingham, Illinois.
Yeah, it's about halfway breath.
And it was, at first, there's that moment where you're just trying to wrap your head around it. You're right here, right now, with this person. Yeah, that you could reach out, and there they are. And then as that subsided, maybe a couple of hours, then it's all hugs, loves, and kisses, taking in as much as you can. Every moment just wallowing in it. You know?
Yeah, for sure. You brought up then that you met in the middle, you said in Illinois?
Yeah.
So what was the thought process behind that rather than going to where one of you was living? Why was the choice for meeting up in the middle?
Cheaper.
And it bought us a few extra hours
Yeah.
together, you know. We were like 5 days though.
It was like 4.
4 days, yeah. We stayed
3
for
whole days and then 1/2.
Yeah, we stayed for a little bit of time together.
Where was that in Illinois?
It's like 3 hours from Indianapolis.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called Effingham. It's a small town, a small junction town.
And had you been there before, or was this an opportunity for you to explore somewhere new together?
Yeah, that was our first time there. We ate a lot. That seemed to be a
Oh
lot
my
of what
god,
was
that's
happening.
all there is there to do. Eat.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Just circling back to before you mentioned about your son's surgery.
Mm.
And I guess that can be a pretty tough time for anyone, especially in, I guess, being in a long distance relationship. And for others that aren't, and when you're going through that process and normally your partner is with you to help you out, my question would be like, how was Ashlie helpful and supportive in that time when your son was going through his period?
She was helpful in a huge way. Whenever I first heard about it, I succumbed to stress. I had recently lost my job, and now here's this expensive surgery on the horizon. I snapped on her. I was just done with everything. Anybody who's ever been in a long distance relationship, they know that there are these moments, there are these periods in time whenever you're not just doubtful, but you're looking at the future and you're like, well, when is this going to happen? I'm never going to pursue this. Like, this is never going to become a thing. And if it does, it's far too complicated. The move, the money it would take to do that. That stress was kind of the straw, because all of that hit me all at once as well. And I snapped at her. It was brutal. It was pretty ugly. It wasn't me like yelling at her or anything. I mean, just like the time took us 5 days.
Yeah, it was like a week.
Yeah, it was almost a week we were apart, and it was just awful. It was brutal, heartbreaking. I manned up after that. I admitted that I was wrong. I entirely expected her to never speak to me again. I was under so much stress, and I'm sorry. I was a lot of it. I wasn't particularly harsh, but I was very blunt, utterly regretted all of that. So I told her, I was like, I apologize. And again,
You were mean afterwards too.
yeah, I was mean about it. I was trying to distance myself. I apologized and told her I didn't mean anything. I was just overwhelmed, in my life. And I told her I entirely expect to never hear from you again or any of this. And she forgave me and we talked. And that kind of started the ball rolling again. After that, I felt a lot more comfortable before I got to that point, coming to her and speaking about the things that were like stressing me out, the things that were happening in my life. She was always that ear. She was always there to listen, to joke around, to make that lighthearted joke, to give me that laugh when I needed it,
Yeah, right. She was always there to make you laugh, make you smile.
Yeah. I kind of see that as kind of like the relationship's first trial. That was our first real trial. And since then...
Yeah, we can get through that. We can get through anything.
Yeah, we were over at that point. That was a real crossroads. And we picked the path together.
So while you were apart, what was something that you guys did that, I guess, helped your relationship? What was something that you really latched onto that you thought that really helped in terms of you two coming closer together, even being afar?
Nightly Skype chats.
So that constant communication?
Yeah, it was like every night before bed, we'd always talk after he'd get home from work.
We'd go out of our way. I was working like 16-hour days, ungodly amount of time trying to pay off this medical bill and everything. And I would come home, I'd have just enough time to get some sleep and then go back to work. And we would still make that time.
Even if it was only like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, any time that we had whatsoever, to the point of like nodding off on the phone, just making sure that extra mile.
That was you.
Yeah, that was usually me.
I've definitely been there. One of the things that I've said that really helped Lolo and I was the consistent communication and setting up that routine. But like, it didn't feel, obviously, in this the situation when you want to be talking to your partner, so you don't feel like it's a chore or a routine. You want to do it, so you're willing to do anything to make that happen.
That's very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it is 5 minutes or 3 hours, it really didn't matter as long as you connected and you kept that up. You know that even if it was that 5 minutes, you were going to smile for that 5 minutes, which is going to be a real plus and get you through whatever you needed to get through.
That's exactly right.
We were pretty consistent about that too.
Extreme. Yeah.
So you said you used Skype. Was there any other tools you used or messaging apps or anything else that even outside of that you might have, connected with? You said you did start with a game. Were there any other games that you played or you continued to play the same game?
There were a few games that we played together. And
Revolutions, other kind of games.
yeah, we played some phone games together. We played a couple of computer games. We would talk through the little messenger system. We would
while being on the phone with each other.
on the phone. We would be Skyping or Facebook Messenger chat, and we would be speaking to each other while playing the game. Speaking to the game.
You said you've gone through, Silas, you went through, a bit of a struggle with your son, with his surgery, and then, that really tested your relationship. Is there anything outside of that, knowing how that went down, and it obviously turned out to be a positive thing? Is there anything that you guys wish you knew before starting a long-distance relationship? You wish that someone would have told you before entering into this?
I can't really think of anything, personally.
Patience. I wish that I had somebody inform me of the patience that it would require, because you don't have a lot of the tools that people have in a regular, you're there every night talking to each other relationship. You can't reach out and touch that person. And there are times like as males, we want that. The masculine needs, the male body, the need to connect and feel that this person that you're with is with you and fulfilling physical needs, That's a challenge in a long-distance relationship because you have limited resources and you are reliant upon technology to maintain that relationship. You remember how many days we went with no internet?
I went with no internet.
Yeah, there would be long periods of time with no internet, very little ability to communicate beyond text, and she was out there too, so phone calls weren't really an option.
I had to sit in my window to get any network service to even video chatting.
Oh, wow. You make a great point because, patience is definitely something you need because if you've got plans to visit each other or even close the distance, it's normally not 2 weeks away. It's 6 months or 18 months or sometimes even longer, and you definitely need patience. That is for damn sure. It's a really good point.
And there was very little information informing people about the patience that would be required. They were like, well, hit your stride, relax on the relationship. But nobody was ever like, oh, just chill, brother,
So now you've closed the distance. You guys are living together. So what's that like? How is life now that you've transitioned into, a regular relationship?
Love it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Unless he falls asleep on the couch and then there's nowhere to sit all day.
Yeah, we've got the one couch. I fall asleep on it.
So I guess, where something like that, so you wouldn't have, Ashlie, you wouldn't have really come across that because if you didn't live together. So there's certain traits that you both have that you don't know about and you have to get used to. So what was one of those sort of things that you didn't expect to come up that did, and how did you deal with it?
We were pretty well prepared.
Yeah, we had talked about that prior to...
Well, not only did we talk about it, but we had also, whenever we took vacations to see each other, we took a number of them in a fairly short span. We spent long periods together, like in excess of 5 days. Products, that's the best I can come up with, the number of hair care products.
I don't have that many.
No, it's not that many.
All the hair.
The hair. That's a good one. There is hair everywhere, my man. Every shirt, washed or not, that I put on, I'm pulling hair off of.
Between mine and the dogs.
Hers and my own.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. That's one thing that I didn't know was going to happen for sure. Like when we met at college, and then I didn't really see that side. And then when we went long distance, obviously for 18 months, I didn't see it at all. And then when we actually did finally move in together, I think it takes a little time to creep in. But you're finally in your place for 2 or 3 weeks, and then the hair starts to build up. Even if you clean, it starts to build up, and you think, wow, it's like just in the fibers of your socks. It's crazy. Yeah, that was something I definitely had to get used to.
But no, we were actually pretty fortunate on that one. Neither of us really had a lot of small things that the other didn't already experience during those stays together.
Other than the shower curtain.
The shower curtain. We have a thing about the thermostat and the shower curtain. She likes it a lot colder than I do. I'm a manager of a restaurant. I work in a hot kitchen, so I'm very prone to getting very cold. And she works in a CVS where she's running around and she's always hot. So she likes it quite cold. So we've got a 10-degree difference on our comfort levels.
So how do you deal with that? Is it just a point where you have to fight for the thermostat, or you've come to an agreement? Yeah. Have you met in the middle?
Yeah, during the day, we'll turn it up so that I'm a little more comfortable. And then at night, we try to keep it a little lower, although if she falls asleep and I'm up, I'm sneaking that thermostat.
An upstairs bedroom, so it gets really hot.
It gets hot up there.
Okay, well, that's good. At least you've learned to compromise. That's a good thing.
The thermostat has been our funnest one. We have a lot of fun fighting over it.
The new one's the shower curtain.
Yeah, we have a new one, shower curtain. I put it on one side, she puts it on another. Like, it's small things like that. Most of it's just fun stuff, you know.
And it's interesting you say that it's fun stuff, because those are the things you don't get to deal with, when you're apart, right? And so when you actually look at them, sometimes they might be trivial things, but you actually, they can make you smile to be like, oh, we actually have to deal with this stuff now because we're together. So it's it can be really cool.
It's also a constant reminder that they're there. Anytime you see the shower curtain is in a certain spot, you're like, they did that. If that's too low and you're cold, you got to grab a sweater. It's like, she did that.
It's a lot easier to warm yourself up than it is to cool yourself down.
Nice, I like it. Debates.
Yeah, we're on layers. But yeah, I think it's really sweet. I really like that. I really like that about us.
So you guys are in Missouri.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that, Silas, that's where you were living? Or you are living? But Ashlie, where were you originally?
Ohio, like southeast Ohio.
Okay, cool. And so what was the decision process to moving to Missouri?
He has kids.
Right.
Yeah, I'm divorced with children. I couldn't leave the area. I can't take the children with me, take them away from their mother. So.
And one's autistic.
And my daughter's autistic, which is a big no-no. Can't leave state, Right.
Those are very, very good reasons.
She actually has some really good points on the transition between Ohio and here in the relationship, and those might serve really good questions.
Now you just put me on the spot. Like,
why not? Well, take it.
It was difficult at first because the first day that I got here, it was raining and moved with the dog. So the window was down and rain got in the window. So like the first day I was here, my window would roll down, it wouldn't roll up, and then we didn't have a bed, and it was super stressful.
So what did you do in that situation when you didn't have a bed?
We went out and spent quite a large amount of money on a new mattress. We don't have a bed frame, so the mattress is sitting on the floor, but we got a bed.
That's all right. At least you've got somewhere to sleep. That's the most important part. At least you're not on couches, right? This is now a place where you get to sleep together, which is a good thing.
Yeah. It was like down to the wire. The mattress store was getting ready to close, and we had to figure out how we were going to get this mattress home.
Yeah, it was the very end of the day.
It was like 30 minutes from the mattress store closing, and it's pouring down rain.
Was that your first purchase together?
That was our first large one, yeah. We had small little purchases, but that was a good one.
And what was the process like to actually deciding? I know you said you had 30 minutes left until the place shut, but how did that go in terms of, did you disagree on the hardness or the softness of the mattress, or was it just a position where you're like, we need this now?
We compromised on it. He likes it really hard. Like, he can sleep on the floor and be perfectly fine. I like it softer.
Yeah, we had to find something that was a nice middle ground for the both of us. Most things relationship related, it's all compromise. So it had to be hard enough that I wouldn't wake up with like neck cramps or pain in my lower back, and it had to be soft enough that she wouldn't have to go through the same thing. And the other options were like Tempur-Pedic beds, which were thousands.
Yeah, that's way too.
We couldn't afford that. So we compromised on something that had support, but also soft enough for her. It's kind of like it's a new mattress. It's got to break it in.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Well,
I've done more of than him.
Yeah, you've done a wonderful job breaking it.
For other couples that are thinking about going into a long distance relationship, what would be the one piece of advice that you'd give them?
Communicate with each other. Like, if you're feeling a certain way, don't hide it. Tell them how you feel. Don't try to work it out yourself. Just tell them. That
doubt creeps in. Doubt, stress of just everyday life. And then it's difficult because at the end of the night, you're deeply in love with this person, but you're in bed alone. You're going grocery shopping alone. It's rough. Long distance. It's very hard. Communication is so important. And whenever we came together, that we also I found from previous relationships, that the relationship's enhanced by that communication, by the skills that we developed through the long distance. We speak better. We immediately, you spot these signs. Just because you've been so open and honest in communication, you spot these signs like, oh, their feelings are hurt, or okay, they're angry. They're angry right now. They're upset. You spot them all that much faster, all that much easier. I believe that the instinct is to go hot and heavy in a relationship whenever you really care about somebody. And whenever you're in a long distance relationship, you don't necessarily have that option. So you have to side on the communication. Through communication, through that communication base, you develop this beautiful friendship. Like, she's my best friend. I would take her everywhere. I want her with me.
You definitely have to build the foundation to grow upon.
Yeah.
As cheesy as this.
Yeah.
As cheesy as that is, but you are 100% correct. That's definitely for sure.
I'd also advise like critical thinking. You have a problem in this distance. It's a barrier starting off. So how can you navigate this distance together? Like, what are the steps that you need as two individuals to assure the desired outcome of this distance? And I knew for us, I didn't want to be without you, but I also didn't want to be stuck in like this several year-long, never-ending distance, you know? So for us, a big priority was put on making the time to see each other, to take these little trips, even if it was just a day or two, which it usually turned into more.
Yeah, and I think both of my trips turned into extended.
Yeah, like we had one trip that went exactly as planned, is because we were both broke and planning on moving in a month. So like
that was August, the month before I moved.
Yeah, critical thinking and communication. Those are the two strongest skills you can possibly use to battle the distance.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. Well, Ashlie, Silas, thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of the first episode. I really appreciate it, and for sure our listeners are going to appreciate it too, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, what a great first episode. A big thank you to Ashlie and Silas for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it. If you'd like to listen to any of our other episodes, head over to lastingthedistance.com/podcast. We're always on the lookout for feedback to make the show better, so don't hesitate to get in touch and let us know what you think. All right, well, once again, thanks for joining us. This is Nate signing out. Until next time, bye for now.